Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Little Talks for Peak Performance, where we help you track clients and not chase them. I'm Dustin Hawks, and here's my co host, Chris McPheron.
How are we doing, Dustin?
I'm awesome. I'm
Nice.
awesome.
Good to hear.
Kind of a special day today.
I think so. What, Valentine's Day? Did you get your wife everything she needed or asked for?
Needed. Um, yeah, so I got her flowers and gave her a card with some Reese's, the four pack of the
Oh,
Reese's
yeah.
peanut butter cups. She loves Reese's
Yeah.
peanut butter cups. So yeah. So I don't know that that's the special part of today.
Oh,
I mean, it there might have been a Valentine's gift 12 years ago for a certain organization.
I believe the blessing that is Chris and Dustin landed at Gradient's front door 12 years ago to this day.
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day 2011. I can't believe it. What's funny about that too, Dustin, you remember there's a big group of us that started, and year by year one of them would fall off, and fortunately Gradient didn't have enough power to get rid of us by now, and so we've stuck it out. You say?
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. We sat next to each other. We were literally recruiters dialing the phones, 150 dials a day. And it was essentially me against you, who could get the most flips, who could get the most new bodies. And after after a while, we both kind of went um, separate directions with our success. You went and joined what was the champ team. I don't know what they call themselves now, maybe Advisor Arena. And I joined Luke Lowen, and we both had a pretty good ascend through Gradient for quite a while. And then what was it, August of 2020? Um,
Yep, August
Luke
2020.
Luke was all overachieving during the pandemic and got promoted to be our boss, and you and I joined forces and formed Team Peak.
It
And
blows my mind. I remember we had talks way back when we started that we should consider a team together. And what's crazy is we both came from industries nowhere close to the financial services arena, and so it seemed quite intimidating at the time. But for it to come full circle for us to be back together, I will say though, those early days of recruiting and smiling and dialing, having I'd say a competitor, but a person driving me. If they had a good day, I couldn't blank. I had to grind it out, and that was huge. I don't think I could have made it if we didn't have somebody in the trenches there with me, knowing what we're going through. Because you remember, we just find people and we flip them to everybody else, but never talk to them again. And so it was kind of out of sight, out of mind, and it was a thankless job to start out the. But if it were easy, anybody could do it. So
absolutely. And if you look back, the stresses were way different. Like, it's not like the stress is any different or less today. It's just, or it was less then. It's just the stresses were different.
yeah,
And um, what we, I guess the word gleaned, what we got out of being on the recruiting desk and fighting for every possible new body and every possible agent. And the hardest part about that is calling and talking to a guy and getting a good rapport, or a female calling an FSP and getting a good rapport, um, only to know that you're going to flip them over to somebody else, and then somebody else is going to either flourish with that individual and nurture that relationship, or it's not going to be a good fit. And sometimes you could tell on the phone, hey, this person's going to be a great fit for this person, and that person's on the phone, or that person's out of the office today. And then you get them over to somebody else, and it always ends up working out in the end because of everything that Gradient offers, and everything that we do here um, is just completely FSP centric, if you will. But yeah, it's completely different today, 12 years later, than what it was when we started. And I'll never forget, I'm in the little, what used to be the home mortgage office, and
oh
then
yeah,
the little conference room just right over here to the right of me, where we sat in there and trained with Chad Ressler for the better part of a week, and
oh yeah.
completely just changing the lexicon. Like, you're going to speak completely differently, and you're going to you're going to go into something with the end in mind, and you're going to, ask a question that you hopefully know the answer to, or you know what you want to get from it. But if you don't, we're going to go here. And it's just sales 101. And I sat there that week in that conference room and thought, if I had this kind of training before I started my own construction company and building houses, I might still be doing it. So, but no, that's pretty good fond memory as our first week. And four of us started that day. Two of us essentially outlasted everyone. And then this year, one of the individuals that started with us actually came back and rejoined Gradient. Yep. So I don't know if you say Gradient was batting 750 on that one, or if it's like a free agent acquisition that came back. You go. And I don't know, maybe it's like batting 625 or something. I don't know, but pretty good percentage there.
Just to give everybody an idea of the listening too. So when we started, if you remember the movie Boiler Room, that's kind of what Dustin and I would do. We would find somebody and we'd think this is a good prospect for Gradient as an advisor to work with. And it, kind of in a sense, we'd stand up and just yell Recco, and the first person to come chasing us down to get the phone would get that lead. And it was, I always thought that those were funny because, in the movies they're joking about it, but that's every sense of the word of what it kind of felt like for that first year or so on the phones.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of kudos go to Chad and even Tony. Tony Compton was extremely helpful in that. And then Mama Jen Kobashevsky, and all of the tidbits and leadership that she provided. Those were some pretty cool years, those first couple of years here at Gradient.
I got to give a shout out to Brian Lucius. He went above and beyond with me my first year. I was 23 years old when I started in this industry, and he kind of like reviewing game film. I would always send him calls that I'd pull to listen to and say where I messed up here or things I can change. And probably once a week, it'd be 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we'd just talk for a while and he'd say, maybe try this and that. And he didn't have to do that, but it was really cool that he was taking that time to kind of foster my need for assistance. So
Bilu, he's a great one. And if both of us had a voice as distinct and as soft as his and as nice as his, we might actually be national radio host or something.
That's a fact.
So, yeah. So another couple of memories that come to mind are just all the team building and all of the things that we did over the years, whether it was going to a Royals game as the entire annuity brokerage, or some of the company parties or product launches or Christmas parties. And I'll never forget, I think it was our very, very first year. We were here that fall. We went to a Royals game, and I believe we had, I don't know no, we did not have the dugout suite. That was a different time, but we had we had a bunch of seats together. And I think both you and I and a couple other people that were fairly new were pretty quiet on a pretty rambunctious bus going on the way up to Kansas City. And then we had a pretty good time. And then I don't know if I should tell the story. So we get off the bus, we get back. It's uber late, and there's been many drinks had, and I don't know if my wife was picking me up or how I was getting home, but I had a lot. And there used to be that huge row of bushes. There's a quick shop there now. There was a huge row of bushes before the parking lot that was clear out to the west. And I had been holding my bladder for entirely too long on that bus ride back. So I get off the bus and I walk over to this hedgerow. That's as tall as it's as tall as I am. And I'm going to the bathroom. And next thing I know, I'm getting tackled from behind into the bush as I'm going to the bathroom. And it was Blake Sutton. And I'll never forget. I turned around after I finished going to the bathroom and zipped up, and I tackled him, and his hands were just mashed from the asphalt. I mean, just completely like he had. And so I am all mad. I go home mad. I come back to the office the next day mad. I'm like just so mad about the whole situation. And Luke Luke comes over to me. No, not Luke. It was Chad. Chad comes over to me and he goes, "Do you have a second to talk?" And I'm literally like, "Okay, this is my last day at Gradient. I attacked Blake," and pulls me into the trophy room and he goes, "Well, we've been seeing some really good things out of you, and some people have noticed, and I think Luke would like you to join forces with him." And I
That
literally was
is
like, "Oh
awesome.
my gosh!"
That
Like
is awesome.
like I
Good
literally thought I
timing.
was getting fired.
That is perfect timing.
So that was of all those crazy trips, that was one of the ones I literally was like from here to there.
Oh my goodness,
So
a roller coaster of emotions there. That's got to be
yeah,
something.
yeah,
That's fun stuff.
yeah. How about our F&G trip to Baltimore? What do you remember from
That
that?
was a pretty cool one. I had kind of learned my lesson going into that one on not partying too much the night before the meetings and stuff. So I was fairly tame, but was pretty fun about that was we had just not only dominated but swept the Baltimore Orioles, the Kansas City Royals in the playoffs, and was that 2 months prior to that. And then we are going up to our room, and I don't know how, still to this day, you saw him, but Buck Showalter, the former coach for the Baltimore Orioles, you just yell, "Buck!" And we're getting ready to get onto an elevator, and we take a quick little picture and telling him how much we love the Royals. So I can only imagine how much he hated hearing that. But he was a
Because
trooper. He took a
he
picture
was
with
up for
us.
the position when Ned got it. He was up
Yeah,
for the manager role when Ned got it, and then Ned Yost got it. So
yeah. So
yeah,
that was pretty cool, especially just how quick he realized. And yeah, one of
he
those things that you couldn't have scripted any better. Like, it was pretty fun.
he was extremely friendly. I mean, he was nice.
Yeah.
He was amicable to get the picture with us. The only problem was, I don't know if it was your camera or mine, but that's the best blurry picture I have.
We'll blame that on 2015 technology. That was a
So
while
yep,
ago now.
that
That
was a
was
while.
a good one. So,
Yep.
I mean, I know you guys heard it on the last episode. That little run in I had with Michael Irving, I can't stop talking about. And so that was one of my highlights over the 12 years is seeing him, and mainly just some of the messages we've heard from other speakers out there. They really resonate. And this is an industry that you get a lot of fun opportunities. And being a younger guy, being here for 12 years now, I'd say I have some jealous friends out there. Some of the things I've been able to do, just a part of the job. And so it's been a pretty fun run. I'd say probably my favorite thing we had was Ireland, and my wife was a saint. She let me golf 3 times over there while she just hung out with the other advisors I wasn't with. And so that was definitely a life moment I'll never be able to replace. Um,
Yeah,
really
that's
stands out.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah, so we've had some really cool opportunities, and I think the people that are outside Gradient focus on, oh wow, you get to go to Nassau, or you went to Ireland, or you went to this really unbelievable resort up in Utah, or wherever it may be. And while those are cool, when you look back on it, it's not necessarily the destination, but enjoying that destination with all of these people that we've come to know and work with and build these unbelievable bonds. I mean, those are really the memories that I take away. And
I
my
completely agree. Yes.
my very first gala was the Montage in South Carolina,
Oh yeah.
and that was a really really cool property. And we were essentially, um, I guess, for a lack of better words, we were vacationing in a sauna for 5 days. I mean,
Oh man,
it was hotter than hot,
I heard that was
and
rough.
so the very first night, we're from Kansas, so heat and humidity. I mean, it's hot, but like we can deal with it. And then we had an outdoor dinner under a huge what I'd almost call carnival tent, and it was manageable. I didn't think it was a bad thing at all, but there was quite a few complaints. And then by the final night we were there, the farewell dinner was supposed to be out on the front lawn. And they're like, we're going to have it inside the ballroom. And I mean, everybody was just like, oh, thank God. That's great. That's wonderful.
That is
And
awesome.
yeah. And so Carrie got to see her very first I'm going to get this wrong. I think alligator. I don't know if they have crocodiles or alligators, whatever it is. There, we had to go drive a golf cart darn near down into the brackish waters to see it, but and then we did. So her
Kind of how
trip was made by that.
when we had our Key Largo gala, I was playing golf, and the starter told us, now there's alligators out there, or crocodiles, I'm not quite sure. And so anytime water was around or the trees, I didn't really look for my golf ball very long. I just let that thing go, and I didn't need to encounter one of those things. That was good.
Yeah, yeah. No, those are. Honestly, it's just if they can get you, like you can stand behind them and you've got the advantage, and to the side, it's just when they can come at you and you can't lay them, and then they. So if you're on ground, you've got a great chance of survival. You may not look the same afterwards, but it's when they get you underwater and they drown you. That's where you don't want to encounter
I just kept
an alligator.
I was holding the club the entire time. I wasn't gonna let it come at me, so I made sure I had a weapon on me.
Yeah. So obviously, 12 years ago today on Valentine's Day, we joined the ranks here at Gradient, and we I would say have had a great run here, and I would tell you it's just the start. Both you and I got a ton of emails from various people here today at Gradient, and saying how time flies, and obviously congratulating us, and so on and so forth. I mean, Carrie, this morning we were. I was a good husband this morning. I typically she'll get out of bed and she does whatever she does in the kitchen for 30 minutes, and she gets in the shower. And then once she gets in the shower, I kind of get up, and not that you all need to know my morning routine, but this morning I got up with her and kind of doing some chores and getting ready to go and do some stuff. And then Higgs needed to buy some treats that he told us about 11 o'clock last night for his advisory class or whatever. So I boogied over to the grocery store this morning, but she's like, happy Valentine's Day. And I'm like, yeah. And I said, what's really a big deal today though? And she's like, what? And I'm like, it's our anniversary. And she's like, okay, how old's Hadley? Hadley's 11 and a half. You've been there for 12 years. And she's like, I'm kind of jealous of you, because she just changed jobs 2 years ago, changed schools, same job. And she goes, there's some respect and there's some stature with being at a job pretty long term. And I was like, yeah, absolutely there is. And, she's obviously doing really well where she's at now, and obviously being as successful as she was before. But, the credibility that you bring them, hey, I've been here for 12 years, been doing this for 12 years, same company, A, you're not a job hopper. B, it means your company is extremely strong and has some pretty good foothold on the industry, when you can be in sales and be content to be at the company that you're at for 12 years. So
exactly right.
Kudos to you. Kudos to us.
Yeah, it's been a fun run. Like I said, I'm just extremely blessed. This is a great industry to be in, especially a young guy like me. And I don't know how many times that first, say, 5 years that I'd get told I have socks older than you, which every time I replied, it said, what brand are those? Because that is beyond impressive. Mine are done after 2, maybe 3 years. So I always made that as the comeback joke. But in all seriousness, the relationships of all the people we've been able to encounter and meet on the trips and work with every day, that's amazing. I mean, for a job, we get to help people we've built good quality friendship relationships with and see them succeed. I mean, it's very rewarding. So couldn't be happier with where we are. Ready for 12 more.
So just wanted to kind of close here. We both got an email from Luke today, and it says Valentine's Day, and then it's got 2 question marks, and then, capital NO hyphen, it's peak day. And I'm not going to go through the whole email, but 12 short years ago, you both wandered into the office to punch in for the first time. Despite some of your best efforts, you're still here 12 years later. So that was by far the funniest one that we got.
Exactly.
Yeah. A bunch of really nice and genuine comments within the email that I'm not going to read, but that one had me laughing off like nobody's business. So
I did a LOL on that one. I actually laughed out loud on that one.
Yep. So anyways, well, a little special pod to, I guess, I guess we can't finish this thing without giving kudos to all of the FSPs that we work with, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be doing this. So
Exactly.
we've had a really, really good start to 2023. And I guess the momentum on 2022 just continued through the first of the year. And we've got some advisors. I've got two that have had just unbelievable. We've got a couple of advisors that have had just unbelievable paid months, and a couple that have just kept the pedal down, and even through the winter and the non-marketing months have continued to submit really, really great business for them and for their clients, and really changing lives daily now. And that's pretty rewarding.
It is. Yeah, I agree.
Any last parting words? Anything that?
I can't believe we're still here and actually in good standing. Like you said, we're off to a good start. So that's always a good sign for the beginning and how the year is going to go. So no, it's always fun.
Here's how I can tell you have two kids under 3 or 4.
4.
Under 4. You got 2 kids under 4. Your brain might be a little fried at 3:52 in the afternoon, because you know what? Today is Tuesday after Super Bowl Sunday, and the Chiefs won the freaking Super Bowl.
Did they? I didn't know they were playing this last weekend.
Oh, and you know what? I'm not going to get too cocky here, but I don't think it's the last one we're going to get to encounter. So
I know I said it earlier, but we've been to 5 AFC championships, so almost half of our time at Gradient, we've been enjoying some fun football. But to be fair, those first 5 or 6 years, it was pretty rough. We didn't have a lot of fun watching the Chiefs back then. So I say it's karma came around for sure for us there.
Well, since we started Gradient, I don't know the Monarchs and the KC Current and some of those other professional teams, but Higgs, so no parade tomorrow. He's texting me. So no parade tomorrow. Sporting Kansas City won the MLS Cup in 2013.
Yep.
The Royals won the World Series in 2015. Should have won it in 14 as well, but we'll take 15. And then the Chiefs won the season of 19, but 2020 Super Bowl, and then again this year. And I just feel like it's a sign.
Take away Boston, so New England, Red Sox, Kansas City. I'm pretty sure now has the second most, again to Boston, championships out there in the last 10 years, 15 years. So to say Kansas City might be a little bit of a dynasty town, a sports town, maybe give it a couple more. But
the only way I might give that one to you, and I don't know that I can, and I'm not a huge fan, but LA, the Lakers, the Dodgers, and the Rams.
Okay, so they're up there. Yep.
We don't have an NBA team, and the Lakers used to be my team before they acquired some really big stud. But so like
I'll be on the banister with those. Boston, LA, Kansas City. That's a good company
to be in. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
So
yep. Well, my friend, here's to 12 years. I'm not announcing retirement, but I don't know that'll be another 12 for me. I'll let you take those reins. But I got another decade in me. Another decade.
I love it. So I love it.
So all right, brother. Well, hey, good stuff. Give your wife and family my best, and hopefully you did something good for her on Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah. Have a happy peak day, buddy.
Happy peak day. Talk to you later.
Bye.